Something that I've really been sitting with and really thinking about lately has been exploring the whole idea and the concept of going deeper as opposed to going wider. So I had a whole outline and I had a whole ideation session with myself about this video and about what this video was going to be about. And last night I was sitting on the couch and I was watching some podcast interviews on YouTube, and I started to just think about the work that I'm doing and how I'm showing up in it. And I felt like this video feels much more alive to me than what it was that I was originally going to talk about. And so I want to kind of talk about it. I think the whole point of this and the whole point of documentation is to really show other people that they're not alone on their journey or in their specific walk of life. And even though someone may not be going through the exact thing that you're moving through, there's still some aspect of resonance and familiarity that we feel with one another and with other humans who are traversing similar paths as us. And so right now for me, I have not pulled this camera out and sat it up to record something in probably 2 years, I want to say. And when I first started recording on YouTube, the intention was really for me to get more comfortable with being on camera and talking to a camera. That was literally all it was. And I used to have a lot of fun with it. I would literally pull the camera out before I would go into work in the morning, and whatever was moving through me, which was probably maybe something I journaled about that morning, or maybe it was a question that I had been sitting with throughout the week, whatever felt alive for me that day, that is what I would pull the camera out and record about. And so I feel like that's kind of what I'm doing today. I had a whole outline of what it was that I was going to talk about in this video, and I realized that I just like to talk. Not that I can't do an outline or follow some type of format, because I definitely can, but I feel like a part of this is me getting back into the zone, getting back into the flow, getting back comfortable with being on camera again. And so why not go back to my roots of how I really started this whole thing, which was very intuitively, very kind of impromptu, very much just allowing myself to circle around a topic and just share about what it is that is moving through me. And what I've really been sitting with this week in particular is the idea and the concept of going deeper and really looking at depth versus breadth. And, you know, I've been on this journey of exploring and uncovering and going deeper into what my purpose work is for the last 3 years. So one of the things that's started to become really clear for me, I would say in the last week, 2 weeks, give or take, is I recognize that I can be a person who does too much. I overcomplicate things that don't have to be so complicated. And I think what life is really teaching me right now is about simplifying. And the way that this is showing up for me is through my work. I was very much trying to be in all the places and be everywhere. And when I say be everywhere, meaning being on all the apps, feeling like, okay, I should be on Instagram, and I have my writing over on Substack, and then I also do videos on YouTube and yada, yada, yada. And I'm railing off the list of all the things that I want to do. And that internal pressure within me is making me feel like I need to do all of the things now. And that's just not really supportive to what it is that I know I'm building. And it's also not realistic. And I think sometimes we can get so overzealous in our minds and very idealistic. I know I can. And I feel like, oh yeah, I can do this and I can do that and I can do this and I can do that. And a motto that really has been following me since last year, and I keep repeating it to myself as a reminder, is that just because I can doesn't mean I should. And that's been coming up for me a lot lately, because I've noticed that I'm starting to feel as though I'm just kind of spreading myself very thin, and I haven't allowed myself to really go deep into any one area in my life, right? And when I say that, what I mean is I spent a bit of a time on Instagram talking about what felt alive for me there, trying to show up in that way, show up on that channel, show up in that platform. And after a while, it just started to feel a little stale for me, and it didn't feel good. And so what I realized was missing at the time was that I needed a place for me to be able to go deep. And going deep meant being able to expand on an idea a bit more. I am a long-winded person. I'm a deep person. I like to be able to have the spaciousness to really explore a topic or a concept. And it felt like I couldn't really do that on Instagram solely. And so I decided that I was going to shift over and start posting on Substack. And so I've really been on Substack for maybe like a little over a year, I want to say. That feels about right. I think it's been about a year, give or take. And it felt really, really good and supportive in the beginning, because it was a space that I was able to do exactly what it was that I was feeling that I was missing over on Instagram. And in doing that, I felt like, okay, this now allows me an area where I can go more deep and I can expand. And then I can also take whatever it is that I'm creating over in this one area and condense it to apply it over on Instagram. And then I could also take that and turn that into a YouTube video that I can go and put up, so I can now have a visual component. And really what was happening is I was falling into the same trap, but just having something else as the main area of focus. So now Substack became, okay, this is the area and the place that I'm gonna go all in on. And then whatever I create here, I can then repurpose for all the other apps. And in theory, I know that sounds good. And it's also something that we get told a lot, is when you create something, you're creating it for it to then take on multiple shapes. You can reuse this and you can do different things with it. And I understand that, and I understand that conceptually. But what I started to realize is that I was allowing myself to fall into the same trap of trying to be everywhere, as opposed to picking one place to go deeply in and allow myself to just focus in on that. My attention can be scattered sometimes because I have so many ideas. I feel inspired by so many things, and I want to do all of the things. The vision that I have for my life and the big dream, and when I close my eyes and I really think about the life that I'm building toward, it's a big life, and there are many different things that I see myself doing. But this season right now, I can tell, is asking me for focus. And so that's really what the intention of this first video is about. This video is really my attempt to go deeper in one place. And so this is also for accountability. One of the things that I am setting as a personal goal for myself is that I want to really allow myself to focus on YouTube, and that's it. Not trying to then take the video from YouTube and try to make it work on Instagram and make it work on Substack and then write an essay from whatever the video is. I'm not trying to do any of that. This is my way of holding myself accountable for a goal that I'm setting for myself for the month of August. And I'm starting with just August because what I realize about me is that if I don't have the right parameters around a goal or an intention that I'm setting, it's either going to fall through the cracks because it's too loose, or I'm going to feel constricted because it's too rigid, and then I'm not going to want to do it. And so allowing myself to focus in for starting off at least 1 month, my intention is to post one YouTube video a week and just go from there. Just focusing in on that. So before I hop back onto Instagram or whatever the other apps are that I decide to go back to, for right now, I have blocked those apps on my phone because I was also in a space where I realized that I was doing a lot more consuming than I was creating. And I've been off of the apps. And when I say the apps, I'm talking about Instagram, I'm talking about Substack, I'm talking about Threads, and I'm talking about TikTok. Since I've been off of those, it's been probably about a week now, I want to say. I already feel so much clearer. And this is also a reminder to me that this is a part of my creative process and a part of my creative practice, because I spent years off of social media back in 2019 through about, give or take, 2023, 2022-ish. I was off of social media. And so being off of the apps is not foreign to me. It also doesn't feel very hard to me to do. It allows myself to actually have spaciousness and block out the noise. And that is the first thing that I realized, is that when I blocked the apps, I started to already feel more clear just in my mental space, because I wasn't consuming so many people's thoughts and opinions and art and creations and all of the things, which are really just blocking me from being able to create. And so part of the clarity that came through taking that action of being like, you know what, I need to take a bit of a break from the apps for a little bit so that I can refocus my energy in on me and refocus it in on creating. And a part of the clarity that came from that was this intention of, you know what, Michelle, how about you focus in over in one place and just let yourself go deep in that one place. Don't get distracted about anything else. Just focus in on one thing at a time. And so I'm really grateful for the clarity that came through that action. And it really was a reminder to myself that the clarity comes through the action. I think a lot of times we feel as though we need the clarity before we can make a move. But the reality is that the clarity really comes and starts to get more clear as you take steps, because taking this action is going to open something up for you and it's going to make you realize something. And then now you have a better sense and you're a bit better informed about, okay, what's the next step for me to take? And so this feels really exciting. This feels fun. This feels like something that I've been missing. It's something that I keep saying that I wanted to do. I would always be like, oh yeah, YouTube, because I love YouTube. I'm a YouTube girly. Like I love YouTube. And so this is something that feels like me, but it's the one thing that I allowed to fall all the way to the bottom of the list because I was stretching myself way too thin. And so thinking about the idea of recording and editing and all of that stuff, in addition to all the other things that I was trying to create, it felt overwhelming, you know, and balancing that with having a job and having other commitments in my life, it felt like a lot. And I think what this season right now is really asking from me is simplifying things, not overcomplicating things. And so this is my attempt to really put that into practice and to see what comes from it. So that's the video for today. So we're starting here and I'll be back next week with something else. I don't know exactly what it's going to be about yet. I'm kind of allowing myself to flow with this process and see really what feels alive to me and what feels the most resonant to want to talk about. And I'm going to allow my intuition to really guide me here in this particular journey that I'm doing, and let that be enough. I want to really be in a space of trusting myself more and really trusting my inner guidance to lead me and to guide me to where it is that I know that I'm being called to do and to be. So I'm going to end it here, and I will see all of you all next week. And in the meantime, I really would love to know, if you want to put in the comments, what is feeling alive for you right now? What's feeling alive in your life? What is something that you are feeling maybe called toward, something you're feeling a bit of an inkling about doing, but maybe you have some apprehension about starting? I really would love to know what is moving for you in your life. And maybe we can hop on this train together and really navigate through the doing part with one another. So looking forward to reading all of what it is that you all share, and I will catch you on the next one.